Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Texas Wedding Podcast. This week, I am very excited to have Kate Turner on of Kate & Co. and of Landlocked Luxury and of so many other things. Kate is an absolute icon in the industry. She is an incredible person to be inspired by, a role model for not only how to do a job, but to do it well and to be a good person while you're doing it. I love everything that comes out of her mouth. I say it in the podcast, but both as a business owner and someone who lives in a smaller market than the one I normally work in, I found so much inspiration from Kate and how she operates and the confidence she moves with. This is the third week of the WIPACon series. Kate and her team will both be planning the Monday night event, which I can't wait to see rolled out. I've gotten hints. I can't wait to see the full thing rolled out. And she'll be a breakout speaker on Tuesday afternoon, which I am thrilled about. I mean, I would have already loved to see it, but after this podcast, the vulnerability she shares and the transparency, like a lot of people say that and use those words, you could tell she just operates in it. She just freely shares information that other people would normally hold a little bit closer to the chest, like hold a little quieter and be a little more guarded. She just shares it freely and doesn't apologize for it. And I absolutely love it. I cannot wait to hear more from her. I can't wait for y'all to hear this podcast with Kate Turner.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. You know, I'm just a dude that you know, or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here, cause you know we're only losing control just for a minute.
Your backdrop's awesome.
Thanks. This is our conference.
Is this your office?
Yeah. We have a couple of offices. So we have one here, and then we have one about 20 minutes from here. That's where our warehouse is, and we're trying to consolidate, get everybody under one roof. That's the goal right now. So yeah, I'm in one of our conference rooms.
I bet that sounds like a dream, having one office instead of two.
Oh, gosh. Yes. Yeah. I can't wait to have everyone under one roof.
And you're talking about one roof. When you say us, are you talking about Kate & Co? Or are you talking about Landlocked?
Yeah. So I have three businesses. I have Kate & Company. That's primarily planning and design. We take on about 6 to 10 weddings a year, just depending on the scope of work. We have a production company that does production for some of our events, but also collaborates with a lot of other local planners, florists, venues, and things in the St. Louis market. We're based in St. Louis, but we travel regionally. And then Landlocked Luxury, which is our education platform.
Unbelievable. I've heard you talk about the production company before, and I don't know if I've ever heard you say the name of it. Does it?
It's named after my grandmother, Marinelle Event Co. As the story goes, I was going to have a daughter, and I was going to name her Marinelle after my grandmother because we were very close. And as you know, Kevin, I only have 3 boys, no daughters to name. So I named the business after her instead.
You didn't want to name one of them Marinelle?
No, I sure didn't. No.
No.
Yeah. So I named my business after her, rather.
How long have you had the production company for?
Only 2 years. Brand new.
Okay. Wow. Fresh. Not a small undertaking either.
No, it's not. But we have really built it slowly over time as well.
Okay.
So built inventory as we've needed it. So we have about 7,000 square foot warehouse. Kate & Co's in about 3,000 square feet right now. We're looking to jump to 20,000 square feet in the next couple of years. So,
Kate, this is crazy.
Yeah,
it is
wild.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you dream of the future, I mean, we're like taking 10 steps forward from where I thought this would be, but we're going with it. When you dream of the future, I mean, 20,000 square feet, do you picture all sides of the business growing? Like, number of staff on your team, events you're planning, because I've also heard you talk about, I saw a post recently that you did on social of like, when you had to grow, you had to get smaller.
Mm-hmm. So I think Kate & Company will always be where it's at. I think it's really, we spent a lot of time in 2017 and then again in 2021 right-sizing the business, which I think was really needed. And I'm really happy. There's 4 of us here. I'm happy with the number of events that we do. I think the production arm of the business has the most growth potential. It has the most capital potential, capitalizing on the industry as well. So, there's probably 25 million in St. Louis marketplace alone on the production side of the business, and the opportunity for planning is much lower, especially planning at the level that we are looking to do. And so Kate & Co is my passion. It will always be my baby. It will always be my primary business. But Marinelle is the legacy. That's what you leave behind. Yeah, that's what I think maybe even the boys may have some interest in as they get older. And then I think it also has the most legs to expand into other markets, consider lighting or to consider floral or something along those lines. So, yeah.
Amazing. I'm writing down Marinelle so I don't forget that. I'm taking notes.
Inell.
Incredible. We've talked about our boys a couple times. What range are your boys in? What age range?
All good. I have an 8-year-old Winston, a 5-year-old Iggy, and a 3-year-old named Mac.
Wow. Sweet boys. I'm in the same range. Our boys are just turned 9 and then 5. So same general range. It's a crazy time.
Yeah, it is fun. I like my 8-year-old's getting ready for 3rd grade. My 5-year-old's getting ready. They call it senior kindergarten at our school, which is great. And then Mackie will be at school with them. So I'll have one drop off this year, which will be real nice.
Oh my gosh, incredible. And you're in St. Louis. Were you born and raised in St. Louis?
Born and raised in St. Louis. I very rarely left. I went to college here as well until I studied abroad. My sophomore year of college, I studied in Italy. And then Kate & Co was primarily based in St. Louis for a long time. And then I would say probably in 2017, 2018, we decided to try to position ourselves more regionally. And then through the years, we've kind of toggled between being a regional event planner, being a destination event planner, and what do all of those things mean. And it honestly depends on maybe not even the day, but the hour that you ask on what, how I want us to grow.
I feel that. I love incredible destination weddings. Mm-hmm. And when I do too many, I'm so exhausted by the end of it where I'm like, I should just stay in Texas. We should not get on the plane anymore.
Oh, I know. I think that, this might ruffle some feathers. But I think that depends on what you do within our industry. This is the feather ruffling part. I think as a photographer or a videographer, it's so much easier than it is as a planner because I have to know the ins and outs of the space for 18 months, every inch of the space. Yeah. Whereas, probably a photo video team could get by with a scouting visit if you needed or coming in a few days early. Most of the lay of the land we can do virtually, and that's much harder on the planning side of things. And so I think it is a little bit more challenging to be a destination event planner than it is to be some of the other verticals within our industry.
Yeah. I wouldn't be afraid of ruffling feathers with that. I feel like that's something that people need if they hear that and that does surprise them. Yep. It's a lesson they should definitely learn.
Nobody's job
very
is
quickly.
Easy. It's just relative, right?
Compared to shooting for 2 days versus 18 months of planning every single detail of the entire thing. Yeah. Big difference. Well, Kate, I'm really glad that we were able to jump on this podcast today.
Me too.
I emailed you a few weeks ago to jump on because we are both going to be speaking at WIPACon, or I said that wrong. Are you speaking? Are you on a panel or something?
So all of the above. So I'm designing and hosting Monday night's event. So that's the second night. And then I am speaking of a breakout session on Tuesday afternoon.
Yes. Can you tell me what your breakout session's on?
Oh, yeah. It's tough. The year that almost killed me and how I survived.
Have you spoken on that before?
No, this will be the first time.
Wait, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
I say exciting. It's also like an incredibly heavy, not exciting topic.
It is, but I'm currently trying to get Lauren to make me some cake because it actually happens to be my birthday too. So I was like, I'm going to treat everyone to some cake and Diet Coke for my breakout session.
It's not your birthday. On Tuesday.
That Tuesday of WIPACon is on my birthday. So I'm hoping I'm going to butter everyone up with cake and Diet Coke.
Kate, it's my birthday too.
No, stop!
I promise.
Oh my gosh!
August 11th, twinning.
Yes.
That's so funny. Happy early birthday, Kate.
Back at you, my friend. That is too funny.
Oh my gosh, I think I'm speaking, my topic's Video 101. And so the
Okay.
general idea is video 101 for non-wedding videographers, like how to not be afraid of using video in your marketing, how to make
Yeah.
the most of video like for your marketing.
Yeah.
So I feel
Hugely.
like every day I have a new idea and I'm like crossing this out, adding it here and talking to friends like, what do you actually want to learn? It's been a big narrowing process. I've never
Yeah.
spoken on it before. So
Yeah.
it's exciting though, and kind of exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Do you speak publicly a lot?
I do.
Okay.
So I'm the total opposite. I'll put something together a little closer to. I think my like superpower as an educator is that I am an open book. I don't sugarcoat anything and I'm very real. And I do think I thrive better in a Q&A style rather than like a big prepared talk. So mine
Yeah.
will probably be half prepared talks and, creative deck, and the other half of just like, okay, what do you guys actually, want to know? Because most of the
Q&A in the moment. I
it's
love
that
that.
planners want to know, like, how did I switch to percentage-based pricing? Or how did I grow, luxury in a smaller or a mid-sized marketplace? And photographers and videographers want to know, how do I get in with planners? And, and those are the kind of conversations I really love to have that you can't really prepare for.
Yeah. Yeah. Each situation's different. And so,
Yeah.
well, I'm so excited for it.
Me
These
too. We'll see you
in-person
there.
events are so much fun. I know. And so
What
is the
day is
perfect
your
excuse
breakout?
to, it'll be Tuesday afternoon.
Okay, so is mine. So I don't know if it depends on if we're at the same time or not, if I'll make it. I think
We'll see how
lot
the
of
schedule.
Monday is panels and main stage, and then Tuesday seems to be the bulk of the breakouts.
A lot of breakout. Yeah, I think it was 3:30 or something like that. I don't know. I should probably know that, but I don't know that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'd be pretty bummed if ours aren't the same because I would love to be
I
in
think
yours.
I'm at 1
That sounds
o'clock.
so much fun.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'll be there. I'll be in the front row.
Great.
I'll think of
Thanks.
good
Ask a
questions.
great question, Jinx.
Perfect. But I'm not Kate, it's our first time getting to know each other. Can I ask
I
you
know.
some like just fun little fast questions?
Yes.
When
I
you
hope
were
I
a
have
kid,
insightful
did you
things.
have a dream job?
Yes, I was always going to be a wedding planner. In
Even
fact,
like a kid, 5 years old.
Yes, I dressed up as a bride multiple times for Halloween when I was a kid. Like always fascinated with weddings.
Shut up.
To the extent of when I was a junior in high school, starting to think about where I was going to go to college, I marched myself down to my parents' kitchen island and I declared that I'm going to be a wedding planner. And my father looked me in the eye and straight said, "That's not a real job. So you will be going to business school." And so, and I can joke about that now because I'm very thankful for that push. But
Yeah.
I go to business school and I majored in accounting. And in fact, I competed in accounting competitions that I won.
Kate.
Because
Yes.
I'm a nerd. And that's why my spreadsheets are fabulous. And so, but my senior year of college, I was like, this isn't for me. Like I was interviewing with PwC. There was the Big Five then. And
Yeah.
I went home and again told my parents, I was like, okay, I don't think I'm going to be an accountant. I think my dad had just read like Forbes, highest paying jobs of 2012 or
stablest job to major in
right?
accounting.
That I didn't want to be an accountant. And the rule in our house was my parents paid for college if you graduated on, with a certain GPA in 4 years. And so my dad was like, that's fine, but you have to graduate next year or you owe me for 3.5 years of college. And so
you're like, I can't afford that.
Yes, right? So switched to marketing, ended up with 2 degrees, and the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. Has he admitted he was wrong yet?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, my dad owned a chocolate company for a number of years and moved the facility down to the riverfront here in St. Louis and asked me to come in and consult on the project a little bit. And I walked upstairs and I was like, well, this was made for an event space. Like you have like on the rooftop of a chocolate company overlooking downtown river. Like, yep. So we built our first event space with each other in 2013. So he invested in our hospitality company and that grew to, we were doing about 5 million, 6 million a year in catering and events until 2020 hit. And this is, a little taster of kind of what I'm talking about of WIPA, but it was a really hard time in my life. My dad had been diagnosed with cancer for the second time. he was looking to sort of exit and really officially be retired. I was dealing with brides who didn't understand cancellation fees and things like that on the catering side of the business and the event side of the business. And so
Yeah.
we sold off that piece of that leg of the hospitality company in 2021. And I'm so happy that we did. I never looked back, and I could not be more thankful to not be um, dealing with, food and beverage and venues anymore. But it was a
Oh, I
really,
bet.
really great time until it wasn't. But yeah, so he was the investor in that leg of the business. We paid him back in, I think, about 9 months with interest, which was great.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Kate, first off, the number of things you've done is baffling. I feel like you keep saying things and it's like, that's like another huge undertaking. That's
Yeah.
another huge undertaking. It's unbelievable everything you've done.
Yeah, I thank you very much. I made the mistake of engaging on TikTok recently with a bride who was talking about how she was quoted $25,000 for an event planner, and everyone was like, "That's insane! I can't believe
Of
that.
course. Yeah.
What a scam!" Blah blah blah. And so I was thinking to myself and kind of broke down, okay, well, this is how many hours we spend on a wedding, and we plan, and blah blah blah. And then the conversation, so I commented, and
Yeah.
conversation pivoted to like, it takes you that long to plan a wedding? Like, what are you, stupid? Basically. And
No,
so,
okay.
yes, I was just like, okay, and I'm done. No longer. But the reality of that is couples and their families have no idea how
No.
much time goes into what they're asking for. And oftentimes our prices don't reflect the actual amount of time that we spend doing something. And so if you look at the people that are the most successful in our industry, there are certainly outliers like Marcy Bloom. But if you look at Lynn Easton or Todd Fiskus or some of the bigger names in our industry, most of them have multiple revenue streams. And they're all contributing to one pot. And I share that because people don't want to pay us what we're worth and the value of that, we often need other ways to put food on the table for our family. And my husband's in the wedding industry as well. And so we both are feast or famine, as it often is in the industry. And I think really until we can correct this industry and this narrative around pricing specific to planners, but not, it's not just us. It's videographers, it's photographers, it's hair and makeup artists, it's venues, it's catering, it's all of us. We needed other ways to provide for our family in this industry that I love so much. And so I've been very blessed that I have families that have entrepreneurial spirit and that we had some discretionary income that could be invested in various ways to try these things. And some have been incredibly lucrative and some haven't. And I've been fortunate enough to have some trial and error and still be here nearly 17 years later.
Okay, you talked about transparency, that you're just an open book. We're like 15 minutes into knowing each other, and it's already like so apparent. Like you're so vulnerable. I so appreciate it.
Yeah.
A lot of people would share the wins and not share the and they're not all wins, would not share the hard stuff. So, I mean, thank you.
No.
I'm really glad you mentioned Todd too, because I get to work with Todd events occasionally, and I've done some branding stuff for Todd Brands and Vertical 360 and stuff like that. And he's incredible. I mean, the whole team I consider close friends now. But as you're talking about it, it's like, yeah, immediately it came to mind, how dynamic you are in building these businesses and working them together and growing it all together and what he's done. Do you think that's a skill set to not just run one business, but to run multiple businesses like you are or like Todd Brands is? Is that a skill set that anyone can learn and kind of grow in and flex? Or are you like, no, some people are just wired differently?
Gosh, I want to tell you that it's learned, but I truly feel like that some of us are just crazy people that are wired a little bit differently. And I think it's like a weird mix, at least on my end. I mean, obviously not for Todd, but like on my end, it's like being the eldest daughter, a little ADHD, a little bit of like a perfectionist. And I am incredibly curious. And I think that we're just not, sometimes as an industry, we're not curious enough. And so I do feel that, to talk about superpowers again, one of them is like, I love business. I love understanding business. I love coming up with new ideas and I love seeing them executed. And it's taken me a long time to realize that I can't do everything. I need to I need to like harness it into, for example, we talked a little bit about the catering side of the business. So,
Yeah.
in that we had venues and things like that. To me, that was an opportunity because I was really interested in the income that would come from that. I was really interested in designing our event spaces. I was never interested in running a food and beverage business or being in the food and beverage industry.
Yeah.
Versus when I think about the production arm of our business, I am very interested. I want to know what that bar looks like and the molding that is on that bar and what tray goes on top and what lamp goes on that tray and how the napkins will be held and where the drink stirrers are going to go and what the bartender is wearing. Like I'm incredibly interested in those things and they never bore me. So I think just being able to harness like what am I actually interested in from a financial perspective or a creative perspective and how can I get something that fills my cup on both. And I think also it's taken me almost nearly all of those 17 years to give myself permission, build my business in a way that I can work on the business and not just in the business. And I feel like I have the right team in place right now that is allowing me the freedom to be able to do those things. And that's really attractive to me and very exciting to me.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. So inspiring to hear.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself, because you've had a couple like growth areas where you try something new, grow, build the team, do it well, do you find yourself having shiny object syndrome where it's hard to focus on what you're doing right now because you are curious, you're thinking, oh, what if I did this? Or like, oh, what would the revenue stream look like in this thing instead? Like, am I playing the right game? Do you find yourself distracted with that?
Yes, I think if I'm being self-aware, I think absolutely. I'm really excitable, and then I like to just like spiral deep dive about one specific thing. And so sometimes I will be sitting there like doing something and thinking to myself, why am I like this? Why am I not doing the thing I need to be doing? Instead, I'm like researching to the nth degree about, software that we could use for our employees to sign in and out, and we could pay them all in one software instead of having two. Wow, so crazy.
Let's spend 8 hours of deep work looking at this
Yes.
software.
Yes. Instead, I really probably should have finished that design deck that I was working on. Yeah.
That's amazing. Hey, I got so sidetracked. We were doing fast questions. I only got
Oh my
through one
God,
fast question.
we weren't fast at all. All right.
We were
Short answers.
No.
Yes. Short answers.
No,
Got it.
this is beautiful. I wouldn't change a thing. But also, you're going to think I'm lying because of how many things I'm making up right now. But we have the same birthday. We're twinning. We have the same birthday. I was also an accounting major and was an accountant for a while. So
that's hilarious.
We'll just keep it coming. But
were you tax or audit?
I was tax.
Me too. Shut up.
Really?
Yes.
I never would have thought you'd say that. You have an audit personality for sure.
Yeah, because I was at that time where they started splitting the major too at my university. Okay. Everyone was just an accounting major, and then it was like 2003 when I was in college. I'm showing my age here, but then they started making you choose tax or audit, and I don't know why.
I still don't know why either. Like I don't know. We didn't make it. I actually did it I went into industry and did it for 3 months and described it to a friend of mine that I was working with I feel like I've like had a good life, but I feel like I'm starting to die. I'm like 21 years old. It's like we've had a good run, but like this is like the end for me.
All downhill from here. Just all downhill.
It's probably not a good sign that this is like the career I should be in. So
no, it's not. It's not.
Okay. Revamping. We're back into fast questions. Would you, if you had to choose one, would you rather do a hotel like a full buyout or tented private residence?
Tented private residence.
What's your favorite thing about St. Louis?
We have a pretty like great, like huge list of free attractions. Our museums are free. Our zoo is free. Our parks are free. There's so much to do with my kids that is just it's incredible. And the fact that we have it all at our fingertips, I think when you travel, you realize that we truly take that for granted.
Yeah, I had no idea. That's incredible. That'll cost an arm and a leg anywhere else to go to all those.
Yeah. So we have like I'm off top. This is not short, but we have a big park called Forest Park that's very similar to like Central Park, except ours is much bigger, that everything is built around. So like you can go to Forest Park and you can hit the History Museum, you can hit the Art Museum, you can hit our zoo, you can hit all of it. It's all right there, great hotels and things like that, and it's all free.
I love that you casually plug in that like, oh, but ours is way bigger.
Yeah, but ours is
I sense the St. Louis pride in you, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What's one thing you would change about St. Louis, though?
I wish there were more opportunities, job opportunities specifically in the tech industry or opportunities for women or people of color. I think we lose so many smart individuals to major marketplaces. Most people who are raised here go to college somewhere else, and then they look for jobs in other major marketplaces. And so they end up coming home just because mom and dad are here for their wedding. And I really just wish we had more opportunity.
Yeah, to keep them here. Wow,
Yeah.
Such a good answer. Are there any bucket list destinations for you to plan a wedding at?
For the last 3 years, I've had the same one, and I just got back. So Montana is on our bucket list for a long time, and we just got back from executing a wedding in Montana, which was wonderful.
So fun.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm going to have to come up with a new one.
Now you have a random thing to distract you for the day. Where in Montana were you? Are you able to, or is it
Sky?
Last one? I don't know why this came to mind. What's your favorite color?
Pink.
Pink? I should have guessed.
Yes.
And that's it.
Yes. One
You
answer.
survived the fast questions.
I did. Woohoo!
You are officially the first person outside of the state of Texas to be a guest on our podcast. So,
Yay.
1, give it up for you.
Yay.
But 2, I'm
That's
curious I'm curious from outside of the state what your perspective is on like the wedding market here in Texas. Like me and all of my guests so far are like in it. And so like I feel like we see things so differently. What comes to mind for you when you think of the wedding market in Texas from outside of it?
Well, full transparency, we've had a wedding at the Rosewood. So I have one wedding in Texas, and I will say we pull a few vendors out of the Texas market, and I stole Shauna, my lead event planner, from Texas. So I have a little bit.
You thief. Give her back.
I know. You can't have her. She's too fantastic. But
just bring her to WIPA and it'll be all good.
Sure. She, like, poor sweet Shauna, got roped in. We just started a WIPA chapter here in St. Louis. And so she got roped into being in the inaugural board or whatever they call it. The first
Shauna.
board. Yeah, I know. So she will be at WIPACon. And the only reason our night of WIPACon is happening is because of Shauna, because I threw my arms up a long time ago. Okay. Question. What is my perception of the Dallas market? I think it's like bigger is better. Like the bigger the hair, the closer to God. I just assume most of your clients are trying to outdo what their friends and family are doing. And so it's bigger is bigger is bigger.
Do you think the same way? You mentioned Dallas specifically. Do you think the same way of Austin and Houston? Is that are those Dallas thoughts or are those Texas thoughts?
Well, okay, so that's a Dallas thought. I make an assumption that the Dallas market is pretty saturated. I think probably less so as you get out to Houston and Austin and some of the other surrounding areas. So yeah, I would say those are more Dallas thoughts just because I've had more experience with Dallas than I have with the rest of Texas.
I love this. This is so fun hearing your thoughts. Let me ask this. So you came to Rosewood here in Dallas, Rosewood Mansion, which Jordan was our last guest on this. So anyone listening is like very familiar with Rosewood.
Fathery or Jordan Kahn?
Fathery.
Okay.
Jordan Fathery. Yeah. Jordan Fathery.
Again, Texas has too many Jordans in the wedding industry. What are we talking about?
Apparently we can't do just first names here in Texas.
No, right?
So when you come here as someone from outside the state doing a destination event in Texas, how do you make decisions like, am I bringing X and Y vendor with me? Let's source what they have in Texas.
Yeah.
What are, I mean, I know your answer probably gets in the weeds like a good bit for the specifics, but I'd love to hear your big picture thoughts for that.
So it's interesting. not just specific to Texas, but when we've traveled, because we do about 60% of our work is destination. We've worked in lots of major marketplaces. And my assumption going into Texas, and similar to other major marketplaces, is that I'm going to have a lot of resources. So I can pick any plate or any glass or any piece of cutlery or any bar that I want or anything like that, because that they have to have more resources than I do in St. Louis. So it'll be no problem to find these things. And what always surprises me is how different the St. Louis market operates compared to most other marketplaces. And the second is pricing. Things are much more expensive in most other places than they are locally to us. And the third is you have more tabletop resources, but less production resources, if that makes sense.
It makes sense, but can you talk more about that? What do you consider a production resource?
So production to me is like bars, draping, lighting. You have a lot of them, full stop. But what's interesting about St. Louis is you can pull things from lots of different companies to get the looks that you want. That's very common in St. Louis, Kansas City, Nebraska, like a lot of the mid-sized markets here. When I go to Chicago or I go to Dallas or I go to Charleston, most people want it's all or nothing. So they either want to do all the flowers and all the production and all the tabletop and all the linens, or they don't want to do any of it. And it's hard to find somebody who will collaborate and let me pull the tabletop from 2 different companies to get the perfect look, or get the bars from this company but the draping from that company. But I do think that you're starting to see that trend is making its way into your marketplace, because if you've seen like Grow recently split their rentals and productions from their floral.
I saw that.
Yeah. So like some of these other companies are starting to separate these things because they want to not be known like you can call us for decor or you can call us for floral, or we're better when we're together and we do all of the above. So I think that I used to think the St. Louis market needed to catch up with everyone else, but it does actually seem like there's a trend in other markets to maybe separate those businesses like Todd has done for a number of years to, really be able to have a better bottom line ultimately at the end of the day.
Yeah. Does that make you proud seeing your mid-market culture kind of affecting the bigger markets and seeing them take steps to kind of operate more the way y'all are?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're not just a flyover state. Like sometimes we know what we're doing. Sometimes we have good ideas. Absolutely. The trends are just never going to hit us first. It doesn't matter if that's in fashion. It doesn't matter if that's in wedding. It doesn't matter if that's in, experiences or luxury or hotels. That's just the reality of, things hit the runway first and then we're going to see it pop up in weddings. But I do think that the way that we do things, our Midwestern mindset, as it were, I think is valuable. And I will shout it from the rooftops that I think if everybody could be a little bit more like a Midwesterner, we'd all probably get along a little easier.
I think that's true. I don't consider myself a Midwesterner, but I lived in Kansas for 2.5 years. So I have a little bit.
Yeah. What part of Kansas?
I was in Lawrence, Kansas for a little stint after college. No, I had a friend who was moving up there. I was just trying to figure out. It was after I decided I hate accounting and what am I going to do next? Moved in with a friend in Lawrence. So
yes, we can unite around the hatred for accounting, and then I usually rally people to unite around the hatred for Honeybook too. So maybe those are things people know about me.
Count me in. Has Honeybook, I'll probably cut this from the podcast. Has Honeybook ever reached out
no,
stop saying this?
I am shocked because if I was in marketing for Honeybook, one of 2 things would happen. Either a cease and desist order would land on my doorstep.
Yeah.
Or if they truly, I would be like, hey, Kate, here's a free subscription. We want you to use it and see that we're not as bad as you think that we are, and then tell everyone that, which wouldn't happen because I have used the back end and the front end and it's still terrible. But they're just out here, and they commented on the last video that we posted.
Did they?
Yes. And it was just
the one of your Netflix documentary.
Yes. It was just like the smiling emoji with the sweat icon. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
They did.
I know.
Oh, did you reply to it?
we just liked it. It was just like, and then I shared it, like if you swipe, you can share it to your story.
Yeah, I'm shook. That is hilarious. So I know it's been over 10 years, but I don't want to just say over 10 years. How long ago did you start Kate & Co?
2012. So
2012.
14 years. Yeah, we just celebrated 14 years for Kate & Co, but I've been in the industry for almost 17.
Okay, amazing. So in the industry for 17 years, almost 17 years.
Yeah.
I bet you have 1,000 insane stories from that time. I bet there's so many that you cannot share on a podcast. But are there any or one or two that come to mind of just like, that was an insane story? Are there any that you can think of that you can share?
Well, I would say, this last year we had last August, so they just celebrated their first anniversary. We had a wedding at the Biltmore in Asheville, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And we were keeping an eye on weather the entire time. The sky is beautiful. The birds are singing. It is blue with some big white fluffy clouds, and like life is good.
Bliss.
It takes a lot of like logistics to be able to have a ceremony on that lawn. And then because nothing can be easy in the Kate & Co world, we decided to have the bride's like very old horse brought in so that she could ride the horse in on so like that takes some acclimation.
I saw the video of the horse, but I love that it's also a very old horse.
It's a very old horse, like very, very old horse. So he needed to be there days in advance. He needed to get acclimated to the grass and the surroundings and all kinds of things. So, we're focused. We're doing great. We went in with sort of a skeleton crew. When you travel, and especially if you're trying to grow within the destination market, it's always the balance between making sure you have enough hands to do everything, but not overloading your travel fees to the client, right?
Yeah.
So we're there. I'm sitting on a bench. I'm just with my production manager, Kim, who's now our general manager. And we're just basking in like, look at how great this is. And I'm like looking at the mountains, and I'm like, that does not look like a white fluffy cloud. In fact, that looks like a gray, stormy rain cloud.
Oh no.
Kim's like, yeah, that doesn't look great. And
am
not joking with you. In less than 20 minutes, we had everything pivoted. We pushed back the ceremony for 30 minutes. We connected with the family. We told them what the new plan was. We got all the communication out to the guests. All the guests went to the bar and got a drink because they were all like out ready to get out there. Storm rolled through. Everything got dried off and the ceremony happened and we were back on track. And I truly think that like my team could rule the world with their cell phones. Like honestly, this is, you can cut this because we're wavering a little into politics, but I think the event planners and Chick-fil-A in charge of like the COVID like vaccine distribution in 2020, we would be in a much different place than we are today. Because I truly think that like between the two of us, we rule the world. But really, and I think that like it was wild and crazy and one of the most chaotic 20 minutes of any of us that had ever dealt with. But we got it, and everything went off with the rest of the night went off without a hitch.
That is crazy. And it's insane seeing it afterwards and being like, I would have never known that happened. I've seen the content from that. I would have never known that all happened.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think to this day, unless my client listens to this podcast or if I've talked about it, I don't know if I've talked about it publicly before, they probably don't know the extent to what we went through on that event. I mean, and like to snowball that forward, of course, it pushes everything behind a little bit, right? So then we had to push the timeline of the event behind, then the fireworks got pushed behind, everything. So I think I left the event at 3 a.m. It was still going. No, 1. It was 1. Anyways, I got back to my room after dropping some stuff off at the bride's cottage. I was supposed to have 1 hour of sleep before we had to get up to drive to the airport. In the morning. And of course, that's the time where transportation hit a few little hiccups. And so I got a few phone calls. And so we never went to bed that night. You
just straight up
rolled straight through. I don't know if I've ever been so tired as I was after that event. There was a reason I was leaving, though. It was like one of my kids had something going on. So,
I was going to say that's a
Shauna
very
back.
fast.
Yeah, Shauna stayed back. Caroline and Westry stayed back. But for some reason, Trent and I left. And I can't remember. Somebody had something going on. But
Yeah.
But that's what you do for your clients and for your kids. So
And for your
here we
kids,
are.
the dream of work-life balance that
There's no such thing. I mean,
isn't real.
It's not. You can have boundaries. Boundaries
Yeah.
are real. Boundaries
Yeah.
are healthy boundaries. But if you are in the wedding industry and you think you're going to have work-life balance, then you're in the wrong industry and you should just pivot, left turn, find something else.
Peace out. See you later.
Yeah. Bye.
Yeah. Work is important and life is important, and they don't balance well together.
They don't.
I find that more to be true.
I've talked about this before, but I am so lucky because I can get my hair cut on a Tuesday without having to ask my boss's permission. I need to schedule a doctor's appointment. I've been navigating some health issues with both my parents over the last 2 years. I can meet with their oncologists anytime, anywhere, anytime I need to do something. My kid's in a play, I'm off work. All of those things. Work stops whenever my kids need something. But alternatively, my clients pay me a lot of money. And if they have an emergency that they need to speak about, and like a true urgent conversation that they need to have at 7:00 on a Tuesday night, I'm going to have that at 7:00 on a Tuesday night. Because part of what they're paying for, part of what's built into my fee is their access to us and to our team and our availability to them. And I have to be able to navigate, I know my clients. I'm like, some clients, it's never really an emergency and you just kind of let the text sit on red until 9 a.m. the next morning. And some clients, it's like, well, they've paid me a 6-figure planning fee. I'm going to be available to him if he has a question at noon on a Saturday, even if I'm out at the park with my kids. That's just the reality. And so boundaries is what you can strive for, but balance is anybody who's selling you that you can have work-life balance in this industry is probably making more money off of selling that to you than they actually are in this industry.
They're selling something. Check the bio. They're going to be selling something.
Exactly. I'm always weary of people who we all have something that we can market and sell to each other, right? And our time is valuable. If somebody wants an hour of your time to learn how to do what you do and the magic, that's valuable. There should be a fee associated with that. But is the second somebody takes that 180 turn and goes from making their income on the primary business and, doing some educating on the side to the education about the wedding industry being their primary business, your content is no longer relevant to me.
Yeah.
Because you don't know
I agree. I like how powerfully you're saying it too. I want to show you 2 Instagrams and get your thought.
Okay.
Let me do a screen share. Okay. I laughed when I saw this. I want to get your thoughts on it.
And everybody on here looking for creative, never been done before, wedding entertainment ideas. Oh, I'm tired of the tarot card reader. Oh, I'm tired of a wandering magician. What should we do? What should we do for something fun during our reception? But no one's listening to me when I say the period pain simulator people do events.
What if? What if?
I should not have taken a drink at that.
What if Best Man Speaking does it with a pain simulator?
That would be hilarious.
I feel like it was just rattling.
Hilarious. That being said, I will say hilarious to those of us who have done 1,000 weddings and seen 1,000 Best Man speeches, probably less hilarious to the guests who really just wanted to hear heartfelt, toast about Sean and Bob or whoever is getting married. My hot take is you don't need any toasts. Like 0. Get rid of them all. No one cares. Like you're the only people in the room.
Both days?
Yeah. Stick them at the rehearsal dinner. Fine.
Stick them at the rehearsal dinner. Okay.
Yeah, because most of the time the rehearsal dinner is your family who knows all of the inside jokes, but your dad's colleagues don't need to hear about like the one time you got too drunk in college and, texted a boy late at night or something like that. Like it's just.
Oh my gosh.
Now, the one I will make an exception for is the host. Yeah. Oftentimes that's the father of the bride. I love a father of the bride's dad. But this is what I tell my clients. It's a toast. It is not a speech or a roast. Those are very important things. Anytime someone says, "So what about my speech?" I'm like, "It's a toast. It's a toast."
Don't use the word speech. You're not allowed to use the word speech.
A speech is like a 20-minute prepared remarks, and I don't have time for that in the timeline. I've allotted you 6 minutes, and 6 minutes is what you will have.
And that includes 30 seconds to walk up there and 30 seconds to walk off and hug them at the end. So
yes, exactly. So now we're down to 5. We're down to 5 minutes, sir.
Plan accordingly. And don't argue with me or I'll bump it down to 4. I will punish you.
Yeah.
One more. Let me pull it up.
Back when it mattered, I saw you standing there in the light of the window. That same smile, then it's been a while. I remember.
Let's talk about Landlocked.
Yay! Oh, I love Landlocked Luxury so much. I hope everybody else does too.
Tell me from the beginning. How did it get started?
Yeah. Okay. Well, really, Landlocked Luxury is a phrase that I coined. I spoke at Engage Summits for anybody who's familiar with that conference. And I did a breakout session that was titled Landlocked Luxury. I think this was the first Engage post-COVID. So it was like right 2021 timeframe, I want to say. At the same time, Emily and Trent, 2 photographers in the St. Louis, or the around the St. Louis marketplace, through COVID, they were doing something called content carousel, styled shoot, bringing in a planner to design something, and life was good. I also, just so you have the full lay of the land, I fast forward a little bit. I had my son Mac. He's now going to be 4 in September, and I executed a wedding 3 weeks postpartum in Las Vegas, and I had a C-section. Yep. And
no.
Again, this is why I don't believe in work-life balance.
Kate, are you human? How would you ever? Look,
I took Mac with me and a night nurse and my husband. And the 4 of us went to Vegas, and an incredible team that helped me execute. And this is the one and only C-section that I did take a painkiller afterwards. After 6 hours of being on my feet that morning, it's the one and only time. So all of that was happening. And the photographer on that job was Mike Kazamatis. And he was like, "Hey, there's this up and coming photographer in St. Louis. I want to bring him with me as my second. I think you guys will get along great. His name is Trent Broglin." I was like, "Okay, great. I've seen some of his work." Because I love when a photographer will let me approve their seconds. I think that's really great. And so he was not approved, but it was like, "Hey, are we good with this?" I'm like, "Yes."
Are we good? Yeah.
So that wedding, some shit was hitting the fan that morning. Sorry if I'm not allowed to curse.
I bet. No. Speak freely, Kate.
Explicit.
Speak freely.
We're going to put the E for explicit on this one. And Trent shows up, hadn't met him yet. Flowers are falling over from the wind with the florist that I was required to use because they were familiar with the venue that I was at.
Gross.
And things are not going well. So that was when I met Trent. So fast forward, we come home from Vegas. I sent him a DM and like, "Oh my gosh, your content carousel is so cute. If you'd ever like me to design something for you, I'd love to do that." And I guess behind the scenes, and this is going to sound so conceited, but I guess him and Emily were a little like fangirly over it. They were like, "Oh my gosh, like Kate wants to design something. That would be so cool." So he invites me to have coffee with him and Emily to talk about content carousel. And so ended up meeting at my office space. And I was like, "Yeah, so tell me a little bit about this event." And I was telling them about Engage and all of these things. And they were like, "Well, we'd love to actually roll some education into this photo shoot." And I was like, "Okay, that's really great." And so we were like, should we kind of merge these 2 things together? And no joke, we met in January and the first Landlocked was the following April. And it was, bless the people who've been there with us from the beginning. It was such a stupid concept at first. Like, I can't even so the concept of the first one was there would be 4 styled shoot vignettes.
Okay.
I would design all of them, but then planners would pay. Again, this is so dumb, but planners would pay me to learn how to execute a wedding day by executing the vision that I had put together.
Styled shoot. Okay.
And I would teach them. So the morning they would have a breakout session with me. I would teach them about percentage pricing. And the afternoon they would execute the styled shoot. And then we ended the day with a big panel. And what we realized after that was like, we love this. We absolutely want to do it again. But the things that people liked was the breakout session and the panel, because we had some pretty big names for our panel. We brought in TMS out of Texas to talk about social media, Shrewsbury Paper and Design, huge, planning, or a huge design and paper partner of ours. So we had some real big names, and that's really what people wanted. So we then were like, okay, April's too late. So we planned the next one for the following February, so less than 10 months, and that was at the Ritz in St. Louis. And that's the one that felt like the first big girl conference, like an actual, conference. And every year we've just evolved it a little bit. And I think we kind of finally have the format and the timing down to what really works well for our audience. But I think we have essentially two successes that have come out of that is we ask our students every year, our attendees, what went well and what didn't go well. And we try to implement the things that they're asking for. And the second was we built the education that we wanted. We've been to a lot of conferences. There's so many great ones out there. And I am so thankful for the time. And I still go to Engage. I still go to other conferences, and I'm so happy. What I get from them is different than what I get from Landlocked, because what I've learned nearly 17 years in this industry is there's very little content for the 95% of us that don't live in LA, New York, or Dallas. The resources we have, the weather that we deal with, the budgets that we have to try to stretch within an inch of its life, like those are all real world problems that a lot of people have, a lot of people, no matter where you're at. But so much of the content built at most of these conferences are what works great for those who are in major marketplaces.
Yeah.
I can't, I was having somebody out of New York at one of the conferences I went to was like, well, you should charge 20% and your minimum should be $150,000 for the types of weddings that you want. I'm like, yeah, that's great. Try to sell that in the same, like that's fantastic. If I lived in LA and the Kardashians were down my street and, that's different. But what
different.
Yeah. What works in Kansas, what works in Missouri, what works in Iowa and Nebraska and, Wisconsin and all of those places is just different. So much of what I was learning at these conferences were valuable. I will be so thankful for that planner, Michelle Rego, who got me to switch to percentage-based pricing. And I don't know that she really told me it should be $150,000, but it was like at the time, like astronomical. But I switched because of her, but I had to tweak it. What she was sharing with me, I had to tweak it to work for my marketplace. And I want to share that knowledge and share that value with everyone. Because there's so much value there. Like if we're all charging appropriately for what we're doing, then it's just, I don't seem so as expensive. And like, I want you to have a lucrative business that like survives in this industry. We essentially built a format and a conference with content that is hugely actionable. It is some of the biggest names in the industry, but it's also people who you might not see as much about, right? Megan from OFD Consulting. Now she's really out there, but I don't know how many people get to have a breakout session with her. Huge, huge wealth of knowledge. Same with Adriana from Ava and the Bee. I don't think she's as well known as some of the larger names that we have had. And I think she was probably one of the most highest rated breakout sessions that we had last year. And the last thing that I think makes Landlocked so magical is we cap it at 100 paid attendees. And then everybody else. So we might hit 120 to 140, depending on how many like trade we have and how many speakers that we have.
Sponsors and yeah.
But unlike other conferences, when you're like a face of 1 in 300 trying to get access to Shannon Leahy to ask her the one question that you have, you really actually get to spend some meaningful time over 3 days with our speakers and with each other.
Yeah, which having been to so many conferences, 100 to some people might sound like a huge number. That over 3 days, that's a very intimate conference.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, to put it into perspective, I've been to Engage summits that have had 350 and I've been to ones that have had over 500. And, my career was built on the back of Rebecca and Catherine, and they've supported my business for so many years, and I will always support them back. But the other thing about some of the conferences that we sort of compete against is ours are always in your backyard, right? So we've been to St. Louis, we've been to Kansas City, we've been to Milwaukee, we're going to Nashville. Pretty easy, approachable places to get to. Because
Yeah.
if you're starting to think about, ways to where to invest, I'm hoping that we're that stepping stone between your sort of local WIPA chapters and the Engage summits that you can come and you can learn, and then you can spread your butterfly wings and go on to other things.
I love it. So smart. So smart to be serving exactly that, and to know like you and know what Landlocked Luxury is and know what your target market is so well. I know I was drawn to it initially. We talked about this over email, but a lot of people think I'm based in Dallas or Austin or Houston, but I'm in Waco, Texas. So I'm in like a
Okay.
very small market here. And so not
Everyone
even
knows
mid
Waco.
market. Everyone knows Waco.
Yes, because Chip and Joe are from Waco, right? Like that's
Mom and
everyone's
dad.
favorite. Yes, mom and dad. Oh
But
my
no one
God.
here is charging 20% and a starting rate of, 150,000 for wedding
No.
planning in Waco, Texas. And so I think there was something that really drew me to the way you preached landlocked luxury and just the confidence you had, like the excitement and the confidence of like, I'm not trying to pretend that I'm in the LA market. I'm not trying to pretend that I'm in the New York City market. And I absolutely love it right here where I'm at. And I'm kicking butt right here where I'm at. And there was something about that even having not been to the conference, but just kind of absorbed the energy you've put out from it has been really encouraging for me.
Thanks. Thanks. We're trying. I think we're on to something. I think that there's a need
Yeah.
for a conference that feels really approachable. Our price is slightly lower than most other conferences out there. And that's because we have so many great partners that help us offset the cost. Because the reality, like, we talked a little earlier about like transparency and pricing and all of those things, is to produce
Yeah.
a conference at, our level, we're talking $600 to $750,000, and we maybe get $290,000 from paid tickets, and so that we have to fill in that gap somewhere. So I think it's through like the sponsors and the partners that we get. That's why we're able to cap it at 100 and keep the rates so affordable, and keep it pretty approachable in terms of where we're at.
Kate, you are blowing me away right now. Like no one ever shares numbers like that.
Well,
Right? Like the numbers are fascinating, but also like I said at the beginning, I so appreciate your transparency. No one ever shares numbers like that. I just appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you're so welcome. I'm so happy to do so. I think it's important to understand when I'm doing a wedding, right? I want to understand what is the difference between a filmmaker that charges $75,000 for a weekend and a filmmaker that charges $30,000 for a weekend and a filmmaker that charges $12,000 for a weekend. I
Yeah.
have to understand the differences between those things so that I can speak educatedly to my client. And there's nothing wrong with any of those prices. There's different values at all of those different levels. And I would expect different experience and different team sizes and, different, deliverables at all of those levels. But I have to
Yeah.
know those things and understand. And I think that there's this misconception. I'll only speak for Landlocked, but like people are like, $3,900 times 100 people, like that's $390,000. Where is that?
You're retiring off of this.
Yes, I'm retiring. I was like, well, first off, my overhead every year is $75,000. That's just enough to like pay for like the website and the email blasts that go out and the social media team that actually posts things for me, and
My gosh,
somebody
yeah.
5 hours a week to check the email inbox and make sure we're doing this correctly. So like, I think it's just important to understand the value that you get from certain things, whether that's understanding the value so I can turn around and sell you to a couple, or understanding the value of a conference you're attending, or understanding the value of a social media manager you're hiring. You just have to understand, ask questions, as we talked about earlier. And the great Ted Lasso said is just be curious.
Yeah. Gotta love ending with a Ted Lasso quote.
Heck yeah.
Kate, we're winding down. Do you want
Yeah.
to give one pitch for Landlocked Luxury coming up now? You mentioned previous years it's been in February. It's in February this year again, right?
It's actually, Landlocked Luxury is always the first week of March. So over the years, it has bounced around between February and March, and 2 years ago, we streamlined it. Always the first week of March, always 100 attendees, always in a landlocked city near you.
Amazing. Amazing. Tickets are on sale now, right?
Tickets are on sale now. We are 75% sold out. So I would not wait because we want it to be easy and we want it to be approachable. We have multiple payment options. Of course, you can pay in full. You can split that into 2 payments. But if you need to, you can also, I know it's a weird year for so many, you can also split it into monthly payments from now until the date of the conference. And so I think that's really important to know. So many of us, it's feast or famine when it comes to our clients and may not have the income to make an investment in doing that now, but paying, $100 a month or $200 a month is a lot easier. So we try to be
It's really affordable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. 25 tickets left. It sounds like
25 tickets
recording
left.
this end of July. That's not going to last long.
No, it's not going to last long. I find most people, once their kids go back to school, start thinking about having something in the new year to look forward to. That's kind of my favorite part is like you get through whatever holiday you celebrate, Christmas or Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or whatever is your family's thing. There's Thanksgiving and, all of these things we get to do. And all of my kids have birthdays in the fall. So like my fall is so crazy. And then at the end, it's like, I want to have something in the new year to look forward to. And so I would recommend Landlocked Luxury Nashville starting March 1st should be it.
Amen. Kate, thank you so much for coming on. I have been looking forward to this, very excited about this, and it exceeded all expectations.
Yeah,
I really appreciate
absolutely.
your time and you coming on.
Thanks for having me. This was such a delightful conversation. I can't believe that hour went so darn quick.
I know. I'm like looking at the clock. I could steal another
know.
hour of your time, but I know how valuable it is. So,
I know.
Kate, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Can't wait.
What?
Can't wait for your breakout session. And then maybe I'll have some cake and Diet Coke for you and mine. And we'll celebrate our birthdays together at a party Julian Lieber's throwing for us, right?
Heck yes. I can't imagine any better way to celebrate my birthday.
I mean, he's the best of the best. So I can't either. I'll see you soon.
I say if you don't like this music, you don't be listening to it. I'm just a dude that or something similar. If you don't keep it real, then you go somewhere but here. Cause we're only losing control just for a minute.
Kate, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. What a fun excuse to get an hour together. I loved learning from you, learning more about you, how you do what you do, why you do what you do. So if you've listened to this podcast, you've made it this far, and you're thinking at all about Landlocked Luxury, take the leap. People will be buying those tickets up in no time. Take the leap. Log on, get the ticket. You won't regret it. Again, this is week 3 of our WIPACon series. A reminder, if you are going to WIPACon, come up, say hi to me, say hi to these guests we've had. We'd love to see you. We'd love to meet you. And don't forget to tune in next time for the next Texas Wedding Podcast.